interact with each other, and obviously Jake Johnson, the wonderful Jake Johnson from New Girl, which you love, and Olivia Wilde work in a brewery together, and the boundaries in their relationship and in their friendship get a little bit blurry because they're both obviously kind of attracted to each other. I'm Jake's girlfriend, and yeah, it's just sort of about the choices that you make within your friendships and within your relationships.
And what was it like working with Joe and working with that script?
Really exciting, terrifying. There was honestly part of me that kept thinking that I would chicken out before I got there, and I'm really glad that I did it, because it was actually not as scary as I thought it would be once I was there, because everybody was just so supportive, and Joe is so smart that he's your constant parachute, you know. You never feel as though the pressure's all on you, you know. He's a wonderful captain.
And audiences going in to see the film tonight, what can they expect to see, do you think?
I don't know. I was surprised when I saw it at South by Southwest. The thing that surprised me the most was like the gasps. Like it's weirdly very tense. You know, it's funny obviously, but people get really invested, which is exciting. So I hope it's a similar reaction.
I'm curious because obviously the improvised thing, you've spoken about talking and sort of coming up with dialogue, but how do you come up with movement in the scene like
movement?
that?
Oh, like blocking. I mean, to say that we were doing it in like a kind of loosey-goosey way, you know, does a disservice to Joe and to his ultimate kind of plan. But you know, we were doing kind of a lot of handheld, and there were never really any restrictions. You know, we just knew, we would just kind of trust that the camera would capture what we were doing. And yeah, that was actually the tricky bit about going back into scripted films. It wasn't like remembering your lines, it was remembering that, you know, like you have to hold up, you know, whatever the prop is, you have to like make sure that it's just here so that it's in frame, but it's not blocking anybody, not casting a shadow, and like that was the weird bit about kind of going back.
How do you, I mean, how much did you work with Jake and Ron and Olivia before you actually were in front of cameras?
Not long at all, actually. Ron and I arrived, and we kind of got thrown into a scene before we even, like, we just got brought onto set to have lunch, and there was some, you know, whispering, and suddenly we found ourselves getting ready to shoot a scene. But I think that was the way to do it, you know, kind of just trial by fire, and that way you couldn't overthink it. You know, that's the danger when you're doing improv, I guess. So it was actually probably for the best.
Thank you very much.